Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Praesidus A-5 UDT. So I was lucky enough to get my hands on this prototype from the guys at Praesidus. Unfortunately, I don't get to keep the watch because it is really cool, but you can still expect a straightforward and honest review from me like you always get. And as always, if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving all the links down below. That is a link to their site, and go check them out because I don't know too much about this watch. It is a prototype, like I said, and it's still in the works, so nothing is finalized. I know a lot of the details, so yeah, you're gonna have to go down there just to get all the final specifications for this watch, I guess. So yeah, so a little bit of background on Praesidus. I'm hoping I'm saying that name right. They are a US-based watch company, and their watches are hand-assembled in the US. They are veteran-backed and veteran-approved, and they also donate 5% of their sales to certain veteran-based organizations. So not only are you getting a really cool military-inspired watch, you're also helping the military out, or at least helping the veterans out. So as for the watch itself, the retail price is $550 US. And as for color options, you get black. That's it. You are going to have an option of a nylon strap like you see here, or a tropic rubber strap. And they are also currently toying with the idea of a bracelet. I think they are working on that. So again, just keep an eye out for that in the video description. The links will be down there. So yeah, you're going to have to see what's available, maybe some different colors as well. So and maybe some different strap options. So just keep that in mind. The watch case is made of stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, screw-down crowns, which we'll talk about in a second, screw-down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Soprod P024 automatic movement, which is a Swiss-made movement. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So this is called the A-5 UDT. So UDT stands for Underwater Demolitions Team, which was a special group of soldiers that was sent out in the task of detonating underwater mines back in World War II. Well, back then, there wasn't any watch out there that could reliably stay watertight. So back then, the U.S. Navy's Bureau of Ships worked directly with Elgin and Hamilton to develop the Canteen watch, which is kind of what you see here. And this is Praesidus's modern take on what many consider the very first dive watch. So I say we get into this full review. Sticking with a military theme today, I am wearing none other than the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical 38. Absolutely love this watch. I still need to do a review on this thing, but there's so many good ones out there already. I've just put it on the back burner and kept doing that. So absolutely love this watch though. All right, so let's get into the dimensions. A case diameter of 37.9 millimeters, a case thickness of 12.6 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, a lug to lug of 45.2 millimeters, and on the included nylon strap, weighs about 91 grams. So I think the size of this thing is perfect. You know, the original watches were like 31 or 32 millimeters. This is definitely a more modern size at 38 millimeters, 12.5 thick. So it's a little bit on the chunky side for a watch like this, but I really don't think it looks bad. You get nice turn down to the lugs there, and I think it wears really good. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it wears great. I just love this size. It is just a little chunky, but I still think it wears really good. And you know, you got nice turn down to those lugs, so it kind of conforms to the wrist nicely. It sits off the wrist enough with those two layers underneath it that this crown doesn't really bother me. It's very comfortable. I think it looks pretty cool. And as you can see, even under this big oak tree, which is usually a problem, there's plenty of AR coating on the crystal. It keeps the dial nice and legible. So yeah, really happy with the crystal on this thing. And yeah, I think it looks good. And here we are in some direct sunlight, and as you can see, again, no issues reading it. You have kind of these raised, you can see them really good there. Raised numerals, raised minute markers on the dial. It's really cool. And this is kind of where you can see the branding standing out a little bit more. But yeah, I think overall it looks really good. Again, nice big chamfer on the crystal as well. Yeah, good finishing in between the lugs there. Everything looks really good. All right, let's go throw this on some straps. And here we are on a rubber strap. This is from Straps Co. again. And yeah, I mean, I had no doubts that this one would look good. And it does. Black strap with a black dial. It's never going to look bad. So yeah, I like it. And here we are on a nylon, just a double pass kind of canvas strap. And yeah, I think that actually looks really, really good. It kind of brings out the green on the numerals there. It sits very nicely on the wrist there. It's comfortable. Even that big crown doesn't really bother my wrist too much. Maybe it would and like over a long period of time, but right here it doesn't really bother me. So yeah, here we are on a really kind of a chunky leather strap. This is from Strapsco. I'll leave a link down below for this one. And I think that does look pretty good. It's kind of a fieldish watch, so a field out watch on a leather strap doesn't ever really look bad. So yeah, this thing is turning out to be a strap monster though. I don't see any watch or any strap looking bad on this one. Here we are on a kind of sand colored pearl-on strap, just one layer underneath the watch there. And yeah, I wasn't really sure how I was gonna feel about this one, but I actually really like it. So yeah, I think it looks good. And here we are on a tan color nylon double pass strap, and again, still really nice and pretty low for what this watch is. So it's very comfortable on the wrist, and again, no real problems with it. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. And case finishing is really done. So on this top-down surfaces, you have a circular brushing. So circular brushing on the bezel, circular brushing on the tops of the lugs, and everything is done really nice and tidy. You can see, I mean, just really nice brushing. Got no problems with the brushing on this thing. Even in between the lugs here, you can see it's nicely finished. Flipping it over to the case sides, you have a horizontal brushing along the case side here. And again, really nicely done, drilled lugs, which just look awesome. The case shape on this is very nice. Like I mentioned earlier, it's got really nice turn down to those lugs. So even on a strap like this, you can see it doesn't really go up and down, and it kind of goes straight through. I mean, it's really nicely done. Very happy with that. Flipping it over to the crown side here, obviously dominated by this giant. It's a 9mm crown, and it is 7mm tall. So it's a nice big crown. It's unsigned, circular brushed on the top here, but really nice grip on that crown. And you can see the canteen section of it here. This is all kind of like a brushed material. You can see here, it does kind of flap around a little bit, but really you don't notice it on wrist at all. It doesn't rattle or anything like that. It's really nicely done. This crown action here is super smooth. I was kind of worried that, this little ring here that goes around the crown would be, it would kind of bind up a little bit when you're turning it, but no such thing. I mean, it's just ultra smooth, very, very smooth, really nicely done. Here's the internal crown there, so you can see a nice big gasket there helping in the water resistance. This is apparently going to be a screw down crown as well. I got some documentation that's saying it's 200 meters water resistant with a screw down internal crown. So I'm assuming this is also going to be screw down. For right now, it's just a push pull crown, as you can see there. But yeah, it's a really nice setup. This hinge here is nice. It never really gets in the way, and it kind of just does what you need it to do. I'm very happy with the way it works. I tried to kind of unscrew this here, and I couldn't budge it. So yeah, I have no doubts that this is going to stay in place and it's going to look good. Really, really solid build quality on that. Very happy with it. Flipping over the watch, you can see here, we've got a circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs here. But the star of the show is this case back. Really nicely done, circular brushed, as you can see there. It's kind of got a 10-sided polygon there. And I think it looks really good. I would definitely prefer just simple notches to get a tool in there, but this is the one they went with. I think it doesn't look bad. The edges of this 10-sided polygon are a little bit sharp. Not something I noticed on wrist, even when I didn't have this strap on it. When I had a regular strap, I never noticed it on wrist. But really nicely done. It says Praesidus A-5 UDT, assembled in the USA with imported parts, 20 atmospheres, and then Swiss automatic movement. And then you've got your awesome underwater demolitions team frog. It's kind of this angry frog with a big stogie in its mouth there. I think it's a really cool logo. I dig it. I really, really like it. And I'm very happy with it. And they also say they're going to engrave these with serial numbers as well. So yeah, that's nice to see that they're doing that. Overall, though, I think the case finishing on this thing and the build quality of this case are excellent. I've got no problems with them. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. We're going to test it real quick. It is +4 sapphire, and it's a really nice sapphire crystal. It's really interesting, though. As you can see here, so it is kind of almost like a box dome, but not really. This is more of a chamfer than a simple rounded face to it. It's really interesting. It gives lots of distortion on the edges, but nice and clear in the middle. And as you can see, and there's plenty of blue anti-reflective coating. Doesn't really get in the way, doesn't bother me too much. It's a nice crystal. I've gotten zero complaints with it. It's very unique with that really big chamfer on it, though. I think it looks really good, though. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. And the dial is really nicely done. It is a matte black dial here. Everything you see on the dial is kind of embossed or raised up. So it's really cool. Starting with the Praesidus logo and the A-5 UDT. So they just kind of stamped that right into the dial. I think it looks really good. Most of the time it just kind of vanishes, but under certain lighting and strong lighting, you can definitely see that it's there. That is actually a nod to what they used to do back in World War II, where depending on who made the watch, they would print their name, Hamilton or Elgin, on the dial. Well, the U.S. Navy would just paint right over that as not to show favoritism. So, yeah, it's kind of just a nod to the historical fact of this watch. It looks really, really good. But getting on kind of an oblique angle here, you can definitely see all the raised aspects of the watch here. The minute track is raised. All those dots are raised. Even the 10, 20, 30 right around the outside, those are raised. And then obviously the big numerals in the middle for the hour markers, those are all raised as well. The hour numerals are all lumed, as are the little dots on the outside there. It's kind of got a green tinge to it. Definitely kind of stands out more on a strap like this, but yeah, the hands are white lumed or kind of a creamy, not quite as green as the dial. It doesn't really bother me on this watch for some reason, but I think it's done really nicely. The handset that they chose on this is perfect. Set of syringe hands reaching right out to the minute track here for the minute hand, slightly shorter on the hour there, and then that second hand reaches right out past the minute track there. Really nice set of hands, and then you can see around the pinion they're blacked out, so it kind of gives a really nice clean look. There's a lot going on this dial, but it's all nicely done and nicely a really nice clean design. So I'm very happy with the dial on this thing. Talking about the lume, let's pop up a lume shot here, and here you can see it against a couple other military style watches in my collection. The lume is pretty good. It's got a nice strong green glow right off the bat, but then it does start to fade. The lume isn't excellent on this watch, but it's really not bad either. It's kind of somewhere in the middle, about what I expected for a watch like this. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is one that I haven't experienced before. This is the Soprod P024. It's an ETA 2824-2 clone, so it's kind of in the same realm as the Swiss Solita SW200. So it hacks hand winds 28,800 beats per hour, so 8 ticks of the second hand every second, about 38 hours of power reserve. It does everything you need it to do. It's been a great movement. Here's how mine has been running. It's been pretty accurate for me. 12 seconds a day. I can't complain about that really. I wish it was a little bit more accurate, but that's really not bad. And this is a prototype. I don't know if they're going to regulate these things or not. But yeah, overall, I am pretty happy with the movement. They're operated by these 3 o'clock screw down crowns. Again, nice and smooth on the screw in, screw out action of this crown. This one should also be screw in crown on the final production version. But yeah, it's really nicely done. So this first position here is your hand winding. It's kind of heavy, just like a PT5000 or SW200. They all kind of feel like a heavy hand winding, but nice and smooth. Pulling it out to the first position here. It's going to be hard to do because I just can't do it. There is a ghost 8 position here, but like I said, with this small crown here, it's pretty hard to get to. So I'm just going to skip that part. There's a ghost 8 position. Pulling it out to the third position here hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. The hands don't jump around when you depress the crown or anything like that. I've got no problems with it. It works exactly like you would want it to work. And again, that screw in action is perfect. No problems with it. So it is a unusual movement, but so far I really like it. I see no issues to not get this. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So this is going to be an optional strap for you. You can have this, or you can do a Tropic rubber strap. I think either of them will be good. It's a nice strap. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say about them. These holes are sealed. The material is, pretty shiny and smooth, and it flows nicely. It's nice and soft. The hardware is solid as well, all sewn in. Everything is done really nicely. I've got no problems with this strap, but it's kind of hard to screw up a nylon strap, right, guys? So, yeah, but it's a nice strap. So there you go, guys. That is the Praesidus A-5 UDT. I think if you guys are into these kind of, modern but vintage military watches, I know I am, this is a really compelling option. I think it looks excellent. They really, nailed this kind of canteen look on it. The hands, the dial are done really, really cool. Comes on nice straps, Swiss movement, $550. And yeah, you're getting yourself a really nice watch. So like I mentioned, if you are interested in this watch, go check out the video description. That's where all the links will be. Yeah, it's a really cool watch, guys. One of my favorite kind of military, modern military style watches that I've had on the channel. And yeah, it looks really good. Unfortunately, I will be sending this one back. So I think that's it for me, though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.